miss a lot of things. Customer service, buying stuff in stores instead of ordering stuff online. And I miss real time. If you've listened to this podcast for a long time, you remember that it started out as internet radio. We were on Unity Online Radio every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And I felt in that context, I could kind of talk to you guys like this is what's going on here. But now we're in the era of being able to tape something one day and show it another day or another month. And I'm happy today that we're recording less than a week from when you are going to be able to watch on YouTube and listen to this podcast on all platforms because I want to catch you up on a few things. The first one's sad. I'll get that out of the way first. Our little dog Rupert passed away on the 31st. I had taken him in for an ear infection August 11th, and they said his lymph nodes are swollen. I think it's lymphoma. You know how when somebody throws you a curve like that, you just can't quite process it? And it all went really fast. And by the time they figured out what it really was, it was too late. We started the treatment, but he was too weak. So he did have a beautiful passing. Both of his human parents were there. Our wonderful vegan vet was there. And I said goodbye. And then I went to the airport. I don't travel much anymore because if you listen, you know my husband is disabled, but I really was so lucky to be able to do the Holistic Holiday at Sea Alaska cruise this year. I got to do two keynotes, three cooking classes, two consultations, and a book signing. Oh my gosh. When I do my work that is just my work that I love to do, it's very happy making. So I come to you in an interesting state. I'm grieving Rupert, and I picked up some kind of respiratory something because flying across the country twice will do that to you. And yet, I had the most incredible week being around people who believe in this way of life and who are so gifted at disseminating it. I met some new folks I didn't know before, and some of them are going to be on this podcast. So, just to kind of bring you up to date, that's what's going on here for me, and I hope that whatever is going on for you is at least pretty good or maybe fantastic. So, hi everybody. I am Victoria Moran, and you are listening to the Main Street Vegan Podcast. Now, if you listen a lot, you know that I don't do a lot of cookbooks. I've actually done a couple here lately because I've run into some splendid ones. And this one, oh my gosh, I fell in love with it so much that I agreed to write the foreword. It's food joy, and the whole book is joyful. The recipes are joyful, and the rest of the book is joyful. Over 100 vegan recipes that delight the senses, nourish the body, and uplift the spirit. We need that, right? So I'm here today with the lovely primary author of this book, Tess Challis. She wrote it with her daughter, Alethea, pardon me, Barrows. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Tess because she is so cool. And golly, she's somebody that I have known for a while. She has written quite a few cookbooks. She is a very interesting kind of coach. We're going to ask her about her interesting coaching. She is coming to us from Arizona, the wonderful state that has no daylight savings time. And she is a committed vegan for every reason that you can be that. Welcome, Tess Challis.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Well,
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be on your podcast. I've admired you forever.
Well, that is fully mutual.
Oh,
There are a lot of these mutual admiration societies going on. We like those. So
we love
why
them.
don't you just update everybody on your vegan story?
I will. And first, I want to just say I was like on a roller coaster of emotions as you were doing the introduction. First of all, I'm so sorry about the passing of your sweet little guy.
Thank you.
That's never easy. Um, Congratulations on all of the amazing things you're doing. And also, I was tearing up a little bit, and I have to just share with you, we're gonna get a little woo woo for half a minute here. Um, I was tearing up a little bit because, and I hope it's okay to expose you like this, Victoria, but before the podcast, you do a little prayer of like you called on the great beneficence, I think.
Yeah,
So my first thought was, wow, the angel card I picked last night was benevolence.
that's
And
cool.
and and right before the interview, I did a little prayer and I said, may whatever we say be of service to others and uplift someone, and let me just be a vessel for whatever people need to uplift them. And that was basically what you were saying. And I was just like, oh my God, are we in sync or what? Like, how freaking cool is that? Just so beautifully synchronistic.
That always speaks to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. If it's woo-woo, that's all right. There are worse things.
I yes, and yes, I love the woo, the grounded
I
woo, the woo that
love
is
that
the alignment
grounded
of the.
woo.
That's a good,
Ah,
right? I kind of
I
like that
like
too.
that.
Yes. Well,
GW.
the
We got the
grounded woo.
GW bridge here in New York. I'm going to start calling it the grounded woo.
Oh, I love that because okay, I'm in Flagstaff right now, and we are close to Sedona, and no shade to Sedona, but there's some ungrounded woo. So there's some different kinds. And we won't go into that unless we want, but yes. So the grounded
Oh,
woo.
I would love to go into it because I feel like Sedona doesn't like me. I've
I
been
think that it's doing you a favor. Why do you think it doesn't like
there.
you?
I've been there 3 times, and every time was way more difficult than it ought to be to go somewhere with such a nice reputation. Things like getting put in a hotel that was at the far wrong end of everything, having the temperature be about 15 degrees colder for the whole week than the weather had predicted 3 days before, having Wi-Fi not work, losing a credit card. It just, and every time, and
Weird.
there were nice things too. I mean, lovely
Yeah.
people and some lovely presentations. And I found maybe my favorite restaurant in the whole world, Chocola Tree. I write about that in my latest book, Age Like a Yogi, because I was just having this terrible time. And I went into this restaurant, vegan restaurant, organic and all that. And they brought me this bowl of soup, and I took one bite, and it's like, wait a minute, this can't be legal. You cannot take one bite of soup and feel that much better than you did 30 seconds
Aw.
prior. But the right spices and the right temperature and the right atmosphere, I guess you can.
Aw. I'm so glad you at least had some good soup. Yeah. Sedona's pretty interesting. We go a fair bit because we're like 45 minutes away when we're in Flagstaff. And it's interesting. It's it's a lot of psychics. I was joking. I did on my stories the other day. I got some stuff at this health food store, which I love. I love this health food store. It's called Interdependence Co-op. And I was joking because, and I can say this on a vegan podcast, my husband and I were kind of like smirking a little bit because the guy behind us was like getting a case of raw milk and talking about how he could heal your 13 meridian points and like, my my husband walks out. He's like, and the woman in front of him is like psychic, and they're talking about all this like, and I'm just like, girl, I meditate every day. I am like as grounded woo as it gets, but like, there's a crossing over point, and there's a lot of the crossing over point in Sedona. And I could talk for hours about stories about people selling little tiny pyramids that will protect you from aliens. Like it's a lot of it's a lot of it's a lot of it's cute. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not
Wow.
offending anyone. But yeah, it's interesting. And it's beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
spectacularly beautiful, and there's great food there, and we love to go there. It's a mix.
It is. Yeah. I think it's good to be open to that stuff, but I also see a lot of people, whether woo people or unwoo people, that in the present day can be very swayed by somebody just saying something. So I was talking with Dr. Michael Greger on the cruise, and he was talking about these ideas that are put online as if they have scientific backing.
Yeah.
So I said, where is the science? I mean, they must have something from somebody. He said, they have nothing. They just say something. Like, I guess I could say, I'm 18 years old. And I mean, are people supposed to believe that? I mean, I could put it on Instagram, but I have a feeling they'd say there's this
I
crazy
don't
old
know.
lady lying on Instagram.
I don't
Other
know,
people
girl.
can
You
get by
look
with
pretty
it.
good. You look pretty good. I think they believe that. I think we need a better lie.
Okay, I am
But
18 years old and my secret is raw milk, beef
there you go.
tallow, and
Yes.
butchering my own hogs. How's that? That would
Yeah.
probably go viral. I
And
mean,
that's
with
Yeah, that's some of the woo that I'm talking about. It's like,
yeah.
wild. And I was like seeing like a shelf of like locally made wild bison tallow. And it's like, oh my God, like eye roll. I'm sorry, but like, please. Like I will go positive after this, but just a momentary rant of when people just BS. It's like it's not truth. They're painting this picture of like wild meadows and regenerative farming, and really you're just like hurting animals for no reason. It's just
That's
like
it.
it's just ew. So anyway, I yeah, we this is a pet peeve for sure when you see all of the like, beautiful meadows and the girl on Instagram who's like, "Yes, I'm having raw meat and raw milk and it's just like making me so nourished." And I'm like, is it though? Like let's see you in 20 years and see how that goes for you because ew, like, yeah. But
I
you're right. People will believe things without, and you and I had talked recently about meditation. It's like, that's one of the reasons I love meditating and developing that inner relationship that we all have within us because you can check in with yourself when you hear things and go, does this check in? Do I intuitively, does this make sense to me? Is this logical? Is this something that would be, you can experience it for yourself and believe it, or am I just buying into something because someone said it on Instagram kind of thing?
mhm. And for me, it's this idea of can I follow the process all the way back and be comfortable with it as far back as it goes? So it's one
Yeah,
thing to say, here, have some beef tallow, rub it on your face or whatever. But there's another thing to trace that back to the death and the life of that animal. And if
right.
I don't want to support that, then I'm not doing the thing, even if people like it. There was a comment on,
True.
I had Chef AJ on the podcast, and there was a comment by a woman of kind, respectful. It wasn't one of these, ranting people online. She just said, after everybody was talking about how happy we are to be vegan and plant-based, and people talked about healing things and feeling good and whatever, and she said, I'm on a carnivore diet and I've never felt better. And I know that my vegan instinct would be to say, no, you don't. No, you don't. But I know
I
that
know.
her experience is that, but I couldn't get it out of my head. And then I started thinking, that sentence is so much like, since I started beating my children, they have never been better behaved. Since I started skimming money from petty cash, I've never felt more financially at peace. It's like, you know, those second halves of those sentences might very much be true, but we got
Yeah.
to deal with the first part. And the first part of somebody saying they're on a carnivore diet is I believe that out of all the ways I could possibly nourish myself, exploiting and causing harm and pain and early death to individual beings and planetary consequences is all less important than the fact that it seems like a cool diet to me, and I think I'm going to feel good eating that way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's so much in that too, because I guess I do have a hard time believing that I don't believe that it's healthy. And I'm sure that, whatever people are going to hate on that statement because people are really want to defend their carnivore diet and the health of it. But honestly, you don't know how people were eating before that. You hear so many, and you and I are both long time vegans, Victoria. I mean, I've been vegan since 1991. So how long is that? 34 years? I
Hmm.
think 34 years vegan. My daughter, who we talked about, who, helped contribute some recipes to the book. She's 22 years old, vegan since birth. So
Uh,
I have very much personal experience in a vegan diet is really freaking complete and healthy. And you don't even have to try that hard. You just eat a healthy diet. Like it's not that hard. But my point with that is you gotta want, and I have a theory that like when people don't I hear so much, and I don't know if I hear it so much, but I've heard it a lot over the years of, well, I didn't have energy when I went vegan, but I didn't have energy. I was tired. I was this and that. And I'm like, literally, you were not eating enough calories. I guarantee you, it is very simple. You don't have to get a nutritional panel. Look at your calories because I know from my own experience, back when I was in my mid 20s, I tried to go raw and I was like, why do I feel so bad? Why am I having digestive issues? Why do I never have energy? Looking back, I'm like, lunch was a tomato. Like, girl, you need calories. They are energy units. You need enough of them. And I think people go vegan and they just don't eat enough. They're eating of vegetables and salad, which are great. And I eat a lot of that myself, but like you have to eat a balanced diet. You have to eat enough calories, enough nutrition. Like it's really not that hard. But someone could go from that and just be, they're not even aware that they're eating maybe 400 calories a day or whatever. And then they go on a carnivore diet and they're like, oh, I never felt better. It's like, well, you're probably just getting enough calories now. Like it's not, or someone could have been eating just all McDonald's and now they're eating, and now they're eating carnivore diet and they're eating less processed animal foods. Like who knows why they think that they're feeling so great. But I can't even imagine how you could, I don't know.
well,
I
as
just,
a dietitian, Marty Davies, she's one of our Main Street Vegan Academy instructors, says every time that when somebody says to her, I eat no carbs, she says, do you ever poop?
yeah, no kidding.
Because
Oh, yeah.
fiber comes with carbohydrates. Fiber comes from plants. You don't get it other
Yeah.
places.
I mean, and that's another thing. I've seen people online saying how the carnivore diet, and people are like, "Well, you don't poop," and they're like, "Well, pooping just means you're not absorbing you're not absorbing your nutrients." And I mean, people have some wild little theories out there. I'm like, well, that's an interesting thought. Good luck with that. Because personally, I prefer the feeling of getting fiber in my diet and just, you know, it's nice to
Oh,
not have digest. It's nice to just not have those issues, which a vegan diet is very supportive of that. If you eat, your grains and beans and fruits and vegetables and you eat enough calories, like you feel pretty damn good. Like,
yeah. Well, I think one thing I just want to get in here before we go further is when you were talking before and you said lunch was a tomato, if you ever write a memoir, I would suggest that as a title because I would read a memoir that said lunch was a tomato.
oh,
Um,
I like that. I think I had cucumber with it, but I remember being like, why do I feel so horrible? And now I'm like, well, I've lived another 30 years or whatever. Now I know that even if I eat a decently healthy meal and if maybe I've gotten a lot of exercise or whatever, for whatever reason, my body is just craving more calories, I feel a little wacky in my brain. Like I'm like,
mhm.
I need food. I
Yeah,
must go eat more calories. And then I'm like, oh, now I feel fine. So,
right.
we're not really listening to our bodies and we're listening to a lot of pseudoscience.
Right.
And you see it
And
repeated enough, and so can people are so convincingly repeating things, and they sound so convincing, but no.
And you can tell that this stuff goes round and round and round. I mean, my dad, who was a doctor, brought a diet home for me in 1965. He went to a medical conference in Las Vegas. And this diet was basically the carnivore diet, except back then it was called the Stillman diet. And then it
Oh, okay.
became the Atkins diet,
Atkins.
and then
Yep.
paleo, and then keto. It keeps changing its
Yep.
name, but it's the same thing and it
Yeah.
keeps cycling back around. And I think when we read so much of this stuff online, it's very interesting that if you really talk to people that you know in three dimensions, even omnivores, they're not doing a carnivore diet, but online you would think that it's two-thirds of the people were doing it. And people that I know who are omnivores, of course, I wish they were vegans and I keep trying to get them to be vegans, but at least they're smart enough to know that the reason they pasteurized the milk is because it was killing babies by the
Oh, good.
hundreds. You don't get laws like that passed because somebody doesn't have anything better to do. And so just to pull something out of the distant past, it's like, well, let's bring back bloodletting and
Oh,
slugs
yeah.
and little shot glasses with mercury vapors. I mean, it's insane.
People are so silly. I know. Yeah. People are
So,
very silly.
so what do we do, Tess? Just shine our light and hope it's bright enough?
Yes, I think so. I was just reading, I think yesterday something about, there's only so much you can say, but being an example is the most powerful agent of change. And, I think that that's part of why I, like sharing that I've been vegan so long. And I like sharing that my daughter, who's the picture of health. And, we've never really taken vitamins. I mean, I don't have anything against it, but, I just think that like, it's pretty cool how plants are so complete and sufficient, the enoughness of plants. And that's why, not to plug my book or whatever, but the concept of food joy, I love just the joyfulness of the enoughness of plants, and not just the enoughness, but the abundance and the beauty and the joy. And like, I mean, oh, plants are just amazing. And a vegan diet is just such a truly joyful thing, and sharing that. And it's so cute. My daughter now, she's 22, and she's now doing what I did at her age, she's cooking for everybody. She's a damn good cook. That little child is a good little cook, and makes just love on a plate. I mean, everything she makes is just there's a little heart on it. And just, which one is that?
I'm just trying to show some of the pretty
In the
pictures.
zone soup.
This is
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
zone soup. Who wouldn't want to be, whoops, in the zone?
Anna Kaminsky took the photos. She's such a good
Oh,
photographer.
she's great.
Really, really, really talented photographer and designer.
Yeah. And quite a
But
recipe creator in her own right.
she is, yeah. But yeah, my daughter, she just feeds everybody, and so I think that's a great thing too, just to feed people and have them go, oh wow. Sometimes we'll pass out treats at the farmers market. We did that the last time we went in Phoenix, and the fermented veggies guy that we go to, we gave him, she had made some kind of like French pastry from scratch. I don't even know. It wasn't a croissant. It was something. And she gave him one. He took a bite, and he's like, "This is vegan!" Like he couldn't believe it. And it's just like that just is the funnest thing, to
Yeah.
just shock people with how great vegan food can be.
Yeah.
It's We love doing that.
And I think people are so scared. It's like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are vegan. Oh, pasta marinara is vegan. And
Yeah.
just kind of help take a little bit of the fear factor away. You have any other tips for making people just open to maybe trying a meal here, a meal there, having a look at what we're about?
Just making it appealing, I think. I can tell you what I did to my husband.
What'd you do?
What I did to my husband. He's well, let's see. He's vegan now. I'm sure he's like a dedicated lifetime vegan at this point, but
Oh.
I just cooked for him. We would go out and get great food. I mean, so you appeal to the senses. You give them really delicious food. Kind of opened his eyes to because he had never had Ethiopian food before, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And like, so getting him to try new things. And then I would sort of strategically be like, "Oh, do you want to watch this documentary?" And then like,
Yeah.
and I was, again, like tuning into my intuition, like, okay, I think. And then there was this point several years ago when I just had this gut feeling of maybe Earthlings, and I had this feeling of like if I watch it with him, maybe he'll watch it. And I had
Ooh.
never watched it. I do not like. I can't. I'm like, I don't need to see it. I know, and have a I have a sensitive nature. Like I don't want to see stuff, but I'm like, I will sit through that. And so we were actually vacationing in La Jolla at the time, and I remember we were sitting on the bed watching it, and I'm like, he was luckily in front of me, so I could kind of close my eyes and not have to, because not everybody can watch that. But if you aren't a vegan and you want to know the truth about what your food is, it's a brave thing to watch it, and I absolutely recommend it. So we watched it. My only thought with watching it was I was like, they didn't cover dairy enough to me. So I found this amazing YouTube video called Dairy is Scary. This
Mm-hmm.
this thing is this woman who did this, it is a masterpiece. It is a 5-minute masterpiece. I
Yes.
mean, I just hats off to that woman who I don't know her name, but oh my God. So we watched Earthlings and then we watched that, and then he was done. He's like, I'm never eating animal products again. And he never did, except one time on accident when he was actually in Austin visiting Hannah. Now he wasn't visiting Hannah Kaminsky, but they had breakfast together, um, and he didn't realize it was deer like animal eggs. He thought it was a vegan place, and he's eating it, and he's like, "Oh, this." He's like, "Wow, this really doesn't even taste vegan." And Hannah's like, "It's not. It's eggs." He's like, "Oops." That's his one slip. That was his one time, but that was years
Now,
ago.
we're all entitled. We
He
we
didn't know.
we
He was
don't
too new of a vegan. He was like, "Oh, this is a
exactly.
real animal tasting vegan food." And she's like, this place is not vegan, right? Like you can get eggs here.
Well,
So
we don't live in a vegan world, and so we're learning how to be as as complete and as committed as we can be as a tiny little minority in alien territory.
yeah.
So it's tricky. All these things that we're navigating, like having respect for people and allowing people to have their own journey, which we have to. We can't force anybody to do anything, and yet stand up for the animals and what we believe in. It can be kind of a tricky balance sometimes. How do you do it?
It's funny. I think we're just really in sync today, Victoria, because I was just thinking about that kind of when you said it, which is and this is maybe controversial, but I think we do have to, I believe, anyway, I'll say, I believe in honoring where people are at, and encouraging them. So when I went vegan, and it was so much harder back in 1990, in that time, because I'm sure you remember, I mean, there was no vegan butter. I think it was even before Willow Run came out, and that was pre-Earth Balance. But I remember this guy in my college town named Gary Vella. I don't know if he's still around, but Gary Vella, this vegan dude. And I remember thinking he was weird because he was vegan. I was like, what do you eat? And I remember one time I asked him that. I was like, what do you eat? And he said, blue food.
Aw.
Weird little memories that always stuck with me. But anyway, Gary Vella was the vegan. He was the guy that I was like kind of my transitional person that I met. And I remember him being so non-judgmental and so patient. And we were at this restaurant in Ann Arbor called Seva, and there was bread, and there was no vegan butter back then. And so I remember him saying, the vegan police aren't here. He could tell that I really wanted butter on the bread, and I had tried to eat vegan other than that. And it was one of those moments where I think, looking back, if he had been really judgy, I don't know. I don't know if it would have, I don't think it wouldn't have helped. because it would have made me just want butter. I would have wanted butter no matter what. So I just remember how patient he was with me and how surprising that was, how compassionate and patient he was, because he was Mr. Vegan. Like, he was Mr. Animal Rights Protest every single time there was anything. He was there, but he wasn't pushy or judgmental with me ever. And it just gave me the space to kind of do it on my own terms. And I made mistakes, even though in a way, I don't believe in mistakes. I think that everything happens to guide us. And, there were times when as I was trying to be vegan in the early days, there was times I fell off the wagon and chose to eat animal products. And I learned from those things. I learned, like, wow, my taste buds have changed. I don't even like this anymore. Or, wow, I don't like how I feel when I eat this. And so I think we have to be really compassionate with ourselves and others, and encouraging with ourselves and others. I know that for myself, I'm very compassionate and encouraging with others, and I have to remind myself to be like that with myself. But it really matters. Our compassion and empathy and encouragement towards others and ourselves it's a small thing, and I think it's like world changing at the same
Yeah.
time. It's a big deal.
I'm more like you on the proselytization front. And I know different things work with different people. And some people, are super hardline with everybody all the time. And they seem to make vegans as well. So more power to them. But I think we all have to go with our own kind of personality. Because I've
Yeah.
tried in other parts of life, not just about trying to encourage people to go vegan, but just out there in the world, doing my life and writing my books and whatever. And whenever I've tried to be kind of hardline and assertive, started back in the 80s, when you're supposed to be all corporate. There's still a picture on the flap of one of my books where I've got this really stiff, short hair and I've got these shoulder pads. I look like the director of HR, which is totally the last thing that I could ever be. And whenever somebody else would say exactly what I said and just come across as assertive and kind of admirable, I came across as this just terrible, awful person who should not have said that. And that's just very clear to me that we have ways of being in the world that are ours. And when we get in somebody else's lane, we're just not as effective.
It reminds me of I agree with that. And it reminds me of the analogy of a wheel that's turning. And there's all the different spokes in the wheel. There's the people that are doing the just for health vegan, and there's the people that are maybe showing graphic images. There's people like you, there's people like me, there's people that are doing junk food vegan and like helping people to go, wow, I can eat this, I can eat a burger and fries and have it be vegan. Like, all of those things are important, and they all help the wheel go around. So I don't like to trash anybody's methods.
Hmm.
If somebody has good intentions and a good heart and they're trying to improve, then hey, it's part of the wheel. It's helping the wheel go.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know people say things like the animal doesn't care why you're not causing him or her to suffer, why you're
Yeah,
not, killing
yeah,
this being, it doesn't matter. It can be earth or environmental stuff, health, ethics, religion, it doesn't matter. Just thank you for
yeah.
not eating me. Oh, golly, I'm just loving talking with you so much.
Oh,
So I do want to look at your list here of actual questions. Since this is supposed to be an interview, but sometimes it's more fun just to talk. And listeners, let me know if you think that too. I really want to hear from you guys. We've got our Main Street Vegan podcast listeners group on Facebook if you want to check
oh,
that out. So, yeah, Food Joy. Okay. Love this book. Love, love, love. I love this book.
so sweet.
So, what does Food Joy mean to you?
Food joy. Kind of like what I was talking about before a little bit, Victoria. Just the joyfulness of, oh gosh, there's so many different, now that I'm thinking about it, there's so many different things, but the joyfulness of eating in a way that does the least amount of harm to plants. Well, yeah, to plants, but to
It's
animals
true.
and to the earth. So you're doing the least amount of harm. You're doing the best thing for your own body. It tastes, I'm sorry, but the food just tastes better. Vegan food tastes amazing. That's kind of was one of a little, and I could go on tangents right and left here, but that's one of the interesting things about raising, one of the many interesting and cool things about raising a child vegan was that whenever she would accidentally try something or be given something that wasn't vegan, she's like, ugh, she didn't like the taste.
Hmm.
And I'm like, our palates adjust. And if your palate gets back to a state of like, cleansed of animal foods, let's say, or just, whatever, it's amazing. Like, and you don't even have to be. I could cook a meal and she could cook a meal. I'm sure you could as well for someone who's used to a standard American diet and whose palate isn't adjusted. And they would still be like, oh my God, this is delicious and amazing. Like, so yes, the joyfulness of how it tastes, the joyfulness. And also part of the book was the spiritual side of it too, the joyfulness of, um, and I hesitated about putting this in the book because it's a little different than what you'd get in a normal vegan book. But I mean, I believe in karma. I believe in not causing suffering, um, and that it is spiritually conducive to not eat animal foods. It helps us to stay in what a woo-woo term would be like a higher vibrational state. Keeps our energy up, keeps our consciousness more clear. I mean, just more clarity of mind. um the second book I ever wrote was called The 2 Week Wellness Solution. And one of the things I remember the most from it was the test group I had. Everyone said that they had a clearer mind. They were like, I can think better. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Going from however they were eating, which was for most of them was not vegan, to trying this vegan way of eating for 2 weeks, and they were like, wow, my mind, my mental faculties have improved. I have
Mm.
clearer state of mind. I just thought that was so cool.
Well, the ancient yogis talked about that. They still kept the
Absolutely.
dairy in, but no meat, no fish, no eggs. And the
Absolutely.
idea was so that people could meditate for long periods and could forge that kind of
Yep.
spiritual opening. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
vegan spirituality because my two kind of passions in this life have been the big picture, the whole spiritual quest, and then veganism and compassion. And there's so much out there. There's the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. There are the vegan spirituality groups. There's the Compassion Consortium that I'm part of. In fact, the third Sunday of September, if you're listening to this show when it's new in 2025, the Compassion Consortium, which is compassionconsortium.org, our special spiritual guest will be Lisa Levinson, who's a co-founder of Interfaith Vegan Coalition. So, yeah, there are a lot of us out there who feel that in addition to saving these lives and doing the right thing and taking good care of our bodies and being planetary stewards, that there really is a spiritual dimension to this. And people that say, oh, that's all hooey, that's fine. You still got all the rest of it. It's good whatever you do with it. So, Tess, you do some kind of coaching that I'm not familiar with. One
Oh yeah.
degree. What does 1 degree mean in 1 degree coaching?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. And also I just had a thought pop in my head when you were talking about you're saving your lives. Oh, you're saving lives when you eat vegan. And I thought you're also saving your own life.
Mm. Yeah,
So
that's really true.
spiritually, karmically speaking, I know that's, yeah, again, but and health wise, I mean, you're saving it's like, I mean, I don't want to sound dramatic, but like you're saving your soul to eat a vegan diet. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing, and there's no downside. So anyway, so to answer your question about the coaching, so the 1 degree concept is, and I've done some business coaching and then just some life coaching, different areas. The 1 degree is a way of making small changes. And I developed this before I ever read Atomic Habits, but if you've read Atomic Habits, and I highly recommend, it's such a great book. It's the same kind of principle where you're doing you're making small steps. And this applies towards veganism. It applies towards anything that you want to change in your life. And it's just a way of, I would explain it like, there's 365 days in a year. And if you make one small adjustment each day, then in a year, well, let's see, there's 300. Wait, did I say that right? There's 365 days in a year. So if you do one change every day, you've basically done the full circle, but you've looped around and you've up leveled everything. You've made so many positive changes, and we get so perfectionistic. I don't know about you, Victoria, but for me, took me so long to shake the idea of like, I have to be perfect. I have to do everything all at once. Little things don't add up. They don't matter. And I know a lot of people are kind of like that. It's kind of all or nothing. A lot of us have that mentality. So, with my clients, it's just a way of helping them, guide them to do small steps, giving them the tools, the steps, the guidance. We work together to develop these things so that they can make those little changes that add up to really big things over time.
So what do you do with somebody who can't make the changes little enough? So I'm thinking of somebody who says, okay, well, today I'm going to go vegan. Tomorrow I'm going to work out every day. And then
Yeah.
the next day I'm going to keep my house super clean all the time.
Yeah.
They
Totally.
wouldn't last. So how do you break those things down into
Yeah.
something?
I get really real with. So if someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh my God, I love your ambition. Like, start off with the positive, like, love your ambition. I think you have wonderful goals, and let's get there. And let's get very real about what are you going to do and what are you going to stick with? So let's start with, I want to go vegan. Okay, well, what's realistic for you to do? Is it realistic for you to go vegan overnight? Maybe yes, maybe no. If the answer is no, let's just be super real and go, okay, well, what can you do? Well, okay, then we talk it through a little bit, and they go, well, I could give up red meat. And this is personal experience because this is what I did, Victoria. I gave up red meat, and then I gave up chicken, and then I gave up fish, and then I gave up dairy, and I had a lot of setbacks in between until I was like to a point where I was like, never to go back. So we'd go, okay, all right. So then we'd see how long, how that goes. If you have slip ups, you go, okay, let's learn from that. Let's see why. Why did you have a slip up? Well, I've talked to a lot of clients where these kinds of things happen. Maybe, for example, someone had a slip up because they were trying to do too extreme of a diet, and then they felt, screw it, I've messed this up. I might as well just go eat a burger, Or maybe they've messed up because they got too hungry. They weren't doing enough planning, and they got really hungry, and the only thing available to them was a burger or whatever. The two examples in my mind both went to burgers. There were two clients that one is actually a blind woman who that would happen with her. And she had the best of intentions, wanted to eat vegan, but she would just not have access. She'd get in these places where she'd just be ravenous and go, I have to that's the only thing I can get that I can have control over. The other person was someone who would go to burgers because she was trying to follow a really restrictive vegan diet, and it wasn't working for her. And then she would just be like, screw it, I'll just go to this place and get a burger and fries. So getting really real. I mean, to answer your question, I guess just being really real with yourself and going, okay, here's where I'm at now. Let's just get really clear. And whoever's listening, think about something maybe that you want to change in your life. And let's just, in this moment right now, let's all think about like, okay, what's something that I want to change? And let's be like really real with, okay, let's take stock of where are you at right now with that? And maybe journal about that. And just, here's where I am right now. No BS. This is exactly where I am. Okay. And now where do I want to be? Okay. And then think about where's the ideal? Where's the dream scenario? Okay, great. Now you have your 2 points. Now let's think about what is a very realistic, doable step I can take in that direction over the next week. and make it, I like to call it stupid small. Make it just like dumb easy, so dumb easy that you're like, oh yeah, of course I can do that. I shouldn't even bother with that. And I'm like, well, should you though? Because is it more than you're doing now? Well, yeah. Is that progress, therefore? Well, yeah. So there you go.
I
Progress.
like that. Now, let me ask you a coachy question. I find that almost every day I am frustrated that there are not enough hours in the day. And I do have a really busy life because I'm working a lot, trying to make the world a whole lot more vegan in the time that I have left. I do have a disabled husband, so that's, like another job.
Mhm.
And it just feels like I need more time. What would you say to a client who said that to you?
I'd say that's really understandable. It's understandable. And you do have, I mean, I think validating that person is really important and validating you, because I mean, you're caring for so many people. And so I guess my question would be like, are you validating yourself around that? Are you showing yourself compassion around that?
No. I think I'm
Mm,
expecting that I really do need to just get things done because it's before
yeah.
me. Another thing that's interesting since I'm old enough to remember life before all this technology, even before email, and I would make a to-do list, which even then was way too long, but I could finish it or I could almost finish it in a day. And I still make a to-do list, but by the time you add to that what isn't written on there, which is email, social media, it's just, I need a longer day.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I would dig in with the person and like find out, well, what's on your list, and are your expectations realistic, and are you building in self-care?
Hmm.
Like, and do you really have to get everything done that you think you have to get done, or is it like you pressuring yourself? And can we fit in some self-care and some more nourishing things for you?
Ooh. Oh, doesn't she sound like a wonderful coach, everybody? I would love that kind of input. And
Aw.
here's her website. It's just her beautiful name, tesschallis.com. Tesschallis. Do you know we thought about Tess as the name for my daughter because I
Aw.
read that it means fourth child. Have you heard that?
Never heard that.
And we had three cats. And so she was going to be our fourth
Aw.
child. But yeah, that didn't last long. But I do think it's a beautiful, beautiful name. And you're certainly a beautiful person. And
Aw.
remember that name, everybody, because she's got it all over the internet. Her Facebook page is Tess Challis. She is at Tess Challis on Instagram. And we will put all the ways to reach her, a link to Food Joy, which is just the most wonderful, wonderful, fun cookbook and readable book. You gotta love a cookbook that calls the main dish section enlightened entrees. Mhm. You speak to my heart. So,
Aw.
just as we're winding things down here, listeners, I just want to let you know that cohort number 37 of Main Street Vegan Academy is starting September 27th, 2025. Again, I know some people are listening to this far in the future, but my present day folks, that's coming up. And we're still offering a discount, not as much as we were because we're almost full, but we still want to offer a little bit of sweetening the pot. So if you put in the discount code FRIEND, FRIEND, capital letters, you'll get 20% off tuition for this cohort of Main Street Vegan Academy. And when I tell you that it is dazzling, it is dazzling. It's live on Zoom. You get to know the instructors, you get to meet them, you get to talk to them. And when I say instructors, I mean, we've got people coming this time like Dr. Michael Greger. I mean, please, Dr. Michael Greger. And Wen Sheng, beautiful man who was arrested for rescuing chickens. He spent several weeks, I believe, in jail. He's an animal rights lawyer. He's now in New York City studying at Union Theological Seminary. Dr. Um, Milton Mills, Chef Fran Costigan, Chef AJ, and her wonderful husband, Charles Marshall, who is a video whiz on how to be a YouTube superstar. I mean, this program is beyond the beyond. It is utterly remarkable, and I hope you'll want to be a part of it. So just check us out, mainstreetvegan.com. The first class is September 27th, the discount code FRIEND in capital letters. And speaking of friends in capital letters, I just love you so much, Tess Challis. You have the most wonderful way about you. And your spirit kind of goes in the recipes and how you talk about the
Oh,
food. So, just finally, as our kind of winding down question here, I would just love to hear you talk about food and cooking and how that is really a sacred substance and a sacred act.
oh, that's an interesting question. And I love you too. And Victoria, you are such a sweetheart because I
Mm.
have one memory. I will share this. I know I keep not answering your questions. When I think the first time we met in person was at a veg fest and it was very cold. And I remember you gave me hand warmers and we were sitting there together in the cold Phoenix weather. And I had my hand warmers and I was like, that made the world of difference. And so again, just sometimes small things are so huge. Um, so yes, love you so much and appreciate you so much. And how is food sacred? How is cooking sacred? I mean, gosh, I don't even know how to answer that. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it is though, but I think everything is sacred.
Hmm.
And I think that, yeah, I mean, I think everything is sacred. I guess for me, being a meditator, a daily meditator, I guess for me, in a way, it's not like a sitting meditation, but it's also a type of like what you could call a so-called meditation in a way. And it's like, let me just say it's an extension of the meditation. So I try to bring peaceful energy into myself when I'm cooking, and I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of weirdly sensitive, so I've eaten food and been like, wow, I feel like I can almost taste the positive energy that the person put into the food, and vice versa.
Mhm.
I remember once I made soup for a friend, and she's like, "Were you in your normal state of mind when you made this?" And I was like, "No, I was in a big hurry. I was rushing. I was stressing." And she's like, "Yeah, I can taste it in the soup." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh my God." And it was like a real lesson for me. I'm like, "Wow, I need to um what is that? There's a saying, and I know you and I share some different Eastern philosophies, but there's a saying that says, I that even the vegetables would like to be cut by someone repeating God's name. And
Oh.
so I try to just when I'm and I try to when we're eating, I try to, have positive topics, cooking, because that energy goes into the food. And especially when I mean, my God, especially when you're cooking vegan food and bringing gratitude into it, so grateful. And for me, I'm so grateful because we have access to farmers markets. We have this beautiful organic produce that we get to cook with. So trying to just bring that gratitude in, which is such a sacred thing as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, yeah,
that is so beautiful. I was doing cooking classes on the cruise, and I haven't done cooking classes in a long time. They needed somebody to do them, and so it's like, okay, I can. I'm just a little bit rusty,
Rusty. Oh yeah,
but
I'm sure you
there
did
was
great. Yeah.
something just about touching this food that is going to become our physical being. It's all pretty magical. But I love what you said, everything is sacred. There was a book back in the 90s. I think the author's name was Bender, Sue
Hmm.
Bender, maybe. Every Day Sacred, I think it was. And
That might
yeah,
have been.
every
Yeah.
day is, and every meal is sacred when it's vegan. I mean, it is
It
interesting.
is.
'Cause everybody's where they're at. And I know people do a lot of praying over meals that have animal parts and pieces there. And that's where they're at. But
That's
I'm
where they're at.
just so
Yeah.
grateful to have found this. And I think just trying to figure out if there's a way to be more effective. If there's any way that we can speed this up, and maybe all we can do is all we can do, and it's going to go at the speed it's going to go.
I think you have a beautiful heart and I think you want to serve humanity. And I think that we also have to remember that it also starts from nourishing ourselves and we have to have our cup be full because if our cup isn't full, then there's not a whole lot to pour out. So I think that's important. And I would like to just plug in a way, not that I don't feel that I get anything out of it necessarily, but I have a meditation that I put on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is so sad. It's such a little like hodgepodge. I have not tried to professionally do anything with my YouTube channel. It's just a little this and a little that. But I put a meditation on there and I've had people tell me it was very helpful for them. So
Oh,
I just wanted to share that if you do go to my YouTube, please don't judge my unprofessional, like hodgepodgey content on there. But the last thing I posted was a guided meditation, and I do in Phoenix, I do like a monthly free meditation that I have people come and just I love to do that because I think that people are craving that in this world with so
yes.
much technology and so much going on all of the time. We need to like rebuild that stillness and
Mhm.
nurture that inner part of ourselves. So,
So
yeah,
is
just
your
wanted to share.
YouTube Tess Chalice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I
Yep.
completely
Got it.
relate
Yeah.
because for many years, my YouTube channel, I called it a junk bunker. It's just where I stuck videos.
Totally.
How do you save a
Yeah.
video? Well, you put it on YouTube. And so there's
Yep.
just all kinds of stuff, and some of it goes way back. And I've talked to experts who are supposed to know about this stuff. I said, should I take this stuff down that's really old? They're like, no, just keep it there because if somebody finds it, then, they'll want to see
Yeah.
it. And I guess the other thing is people
Why
usually
not?
don't go straight to your YouTube page. They go to the particular link. So if you'll send me the link to the meditation,
I will.
put
Yeah.
that in the show notes at mainstreetvegan.com. So, yeah, well, I'd love to listen to your meditation because you're pretty meditative just in regular talking.
You're so sweet. Well, takes one to know one.
Yeah, well,
But it's one of those I guess I'll just say that I started meditating and becoming vegan around the same time and I just feel like they're two of the best things that I've ever done and
yeah,
so much gratitude that these are practices, both of them, that they've improved my life so tremendously. So I get excited about both of them and sharing
yeah.
both of those things with people. um and so yeah.
And then they're so compatible, and one
Yes,
supports the other.
absolutely. Yes.
Tess, thank you so much. So,
Thank you.
tesschallis.com, everybody, Challis. Food Joy, yummy, yummy, beautiful cookbook. And you know what? I think it's about time for us to go out there and make Main Street vegan.